like you've never seen him before.
Please excuse me while I go take shower.
It's naughty.
Smell you later, Poopsicle.
It's nice.
They were giving out lobster bibs in the bathroom.
That's a germ protector for your tushy.
It's animated.
It's Christmas time again.
Oh, my bad.
Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights, featuring the new installment of the Hanukkah song.
Jelly Jugs, next time you come on my court, you better wear a bra, okay? He was just kidding, son. You got very nice boobs.
Hello, and happy holidays. Welcome to Movie Humpers, soon to be The Projectors. I'm Bob Sham.
I'm Angela.
Yes, we're wrapping it up. We're on the way out of this year, 2024, and we're heading towards 2025 for a whole new name, a little slight rearrangement on format, I guess. This part may look the same for a while until I think of something.
Sure.
But also the SoundCloud feed, which has Documentaries and Movie Humpers on it. It will go away on the 15th, and I will not upload new episodes to that. I might put out a podcast for the podcasters that run off that feed. I might post up a little message like, there's no new post, follow this feed, and I'll link the core RSS feed. And maybe sometime down the road, Documentaries will come back in a premium package, but I want to come up with more ideas to present alongside that. But, you know, it's also our old shit too. And just imagining, since we started Documentaries, which was a documentary themed podcast, that led us to wanting to talk about more movies, which is why we're here today. I'm just thinking about like how different we were back then, the way we thought about things, the way we thought about our social structures and movies themselves. I mean, I do got to give a lot of credit to the Documentaries and documentaries for increasing that curiosity into film and reigniting that film passion that I had when I was, you know, in those college years, but it kind of went away for a while.
Yes, but also in those college years, it was very much watching the cool things.
Well, that's kind of the typical journey of a film guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're more into it, but you're trying to find like the most obscure, like, or old, or
I watched the most trauma movies during that time, but then you
That's
also
true.
But then you also start to peek into your David Lynch's and your Stanley Kubricks and whatever. Yeah, there was a while where I did start getting into older movies back then too. Around like not long before I met you, we used to have a killer VHS collection.
We did. We had over 1,000 VHS tapes.
We had to pare down things in our life, and I think they all ended up to some people that really would appreciate them for sure.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I think about how much we had, and I miss those collections, you know? We had some crazy stuff in there for sure. We had a lot of John Waters in there.
We did. We
Probably
had
most of what he had out at the time.
Yeah, bootleg.
A lot of bootleg foreign stuff. And yeah, I guess we're just reminiscing on movies. It's a reminiscing time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year. And that includes the Festival of Lights. What a delight, the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah. This year, day one falls on a Christmas, but on the episode after Christmas, we will cover it. Today, we're discussing the animated film 8 Crazy Nights from 2002, directed by Seth Kearsley. It is an Adam Sandler movie, written by Brooks Arthur, Alan Covert, Brad Isaacs, and Adam Sandler, starring or with the voice talents of Adam Sandler, Jackie Titoni, Rob Schneider, Kevin Nealon, many more. Cost $34 million, made $24 million. Producers maybe not as apt to jump in on a Hanukkah theme movie. I would like to find Hanukkah theme movies for this time of year every year, but we're gonna run out pretty quick. Same way we would with like Thanksgiving movies. There's one called The Hebrew Hammer.
Ooh.
That was like a Comedy Central movie from years ago.
Okay.
I would have to research a little harder to find any more than that. It may be even more scarce than Thanksgiving movies. But there is no incentive from this box office to make more. And Adam Sandler, I mean, he was up and down. I think Little Nicky was what they considered one of their first flops. So maybe there was some ups and downs with Sandler at this time. But happy Hanukkah to you.
Happy Hanukkah to you. And for those of you listening, if you know about Hanukkah movies, tell us.
Yeah, recommend any Hanukkah movie.
Tell us Hanukkah movies.
But this movie, Adam Sandler's a real good friend. He's a real good friend. He's got all his boys in here. He even got Rob Schneider, who always shows up as random ethnic characters in his movies. He's narrating this, and he plays the guy that runs the Chinese restaurant in this fictional town.
4 scorpion ball in 5 minutes? That's gotta be a restaurant record.
You notice that he can't maintain that accent?
No, it was very inconsistent.
When it goes from, we see our main character, Davy Stone, he's getting drunk at the Chinese restaurant, and we hear, it's Rob Schneider, because if you've seen 3 Adam Sandler movies, an Asian man or a Mexican man is going to be played by Rob Schneider. When it cuts to him, he gets in trouble with the law, and he's in the courtroom, and Rob Schneider's character sounds like vaguely Latino.
What the hell was that? Did anybody else hear a parakeet? Or am I going crazy?
He can't maintain the accent, and they didn't. Maybe that's supposed to be the joke, but it's stupid if it's the joke.
It is really stupid, and the fact that he was just in a room recording his voice for this, someone should have said, hey, yo.
Now, you slipped into your vague Mexican accent. Let me compliment this movie in 2 ways off the top.
Okay.
1, it's only an hour and 16 minutes long.
That is a plus, yes.
Plus. 2, I like that it wasn't some kind of moaning about Hanukkah not being as popular.
Yes.
It was just played as though, no, it's all culturally incorporated together, and Davy Stone hates the holidays for a good reason, I think. But it's nothing to do with I'm Jewish and Hanukkah sucks, no one likes Hanukkah.
No.
Which is often the narrative when Hanukkah comes up in other forms of media like comedies and stuff. But this one is just culturally apparent in the community alongside Christmas. So everyone is just still sharing that spirit. And I actually thought that was smart and made it, I didn't want to see any self-loathing on that regard. And we didn't get any, thankfully.
A really good illustration of that is towards the end of the movie where everyone is at a big Christmas dinner. And they say it's, I think maybe the second night of Hanukkah.
Mm.
And so they say, and happy Hanukkah. And one little table's like, happy Hanukkah, and it's cute. And everybody loves them. They're all there together. Yeah, there's not there's no fighting about it. It's just, you are what you are. Davy
Stone is a 33-year-old drunk, criminal record. He hates the holiday. He used to be a star an up-and-coming basketball star. He's still very good at sports, as we see later. But this character, who is a volunteer referee for the youth basketball leagues, his name is Whitey Duvall. Davey has nothing but disrespect for everyone, including Whitey.
Well, what he tries to do is help Davey out because Davey is in court and he's going to get in trouble. And Whitey says, oh, hey, listen, this is my last year coaching, and he used to be really good at basketball. So instead of sending him to jail or prison, why don't you let him serve time being an assistant basketball coach with me? And truly trying to take him under his wing. And Whitey talks throughout the movie about having an invisible wife and having no children. And he really is looking for someone to carry on what he's doing, I think. They don't get into it super deep, but he's just a nice guy. And Sandler shits on him the whole time.
Whitey's character is, at one point in the movie, he's reading a magazine called Short and Goofy Magazine, which describes him. So he's an older man, short. He's got 2 different size feet. He's very hairy. That's the joke. But he's also the sweetest guy in the whole movie and the whole town. Whitey and his sister Eleanor, who we meet later.
His fraternal twin who also has the fit thing.
And it's like they got each other's feet jumbled up. They're the only characters you really like. They're the only characters I really connected to and felt. And the joke is that they're kind of hapless. So bad things happen to them or often Davy's making bad things happen to them, at least early on, where he shoves a porta potty down and we see this character covered in shit and getting frozen and getting blown up like he's Daffy Duck. But Whitey is like the sweetest, nicest guy in the whole thing. You never get any pleasure watching horrible things happen to him.
No, it's extra gross and extra terrible when things happen to him. He is annoying. His voice is crazy.
You're freaking degenerate.
I know I am.
And he's bumbly, but he is the sweetest one of all. And I didn't really start loving him until I saw him and his sister interacting with each other, because the two of them together, it's
I
hilarious.
genuinely thought that everything about this movie was annoying except Whitey, and his sister Eleanor is actually a little bit funnier.
She's my
too.
favorite part of this movie.
His home just went up in flames, so I invited him to stay with us for a while.
Okay, but I'm making an inventory of every single item in this house.
Fascinating.
Look, he already stole something. He's hiding it in his jacket.
She actually is pretty funny.
She has been mad about a Liz Taylor wig that got stolen off of her head 45 years ago. She wears a different wig in every scene. She's just as small as him. They soak their feet every night. She's a clean freak. She's hilarious.
The movie seems to clock overall maybe a chuckle every 5 minutes, maybe 2 belly laughs that kind of take you by surprise, like certain random things are said. I'm sitting here wondering if like some of these jokes, the delivery would have worked better in a more live action set. I don't think a lot of the jokes hit. I mean, that's got to be very hard to do. Comedy's hard enough, right? But to represent it in an animation and you have to animate your comedic timing. It did not work. I would say a little over 60% of the time.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. There is something about when they are in person, they can improv. They can play off of each other. Things are a little snappier. It did feel like some of the parts that were supposed to be funny kind of drug a bit because it did have to be animated and it had to be so planned out. Truly had the thought towards the beginning when he's like farting on people and going around just making a mess. I was like, they wrote this and then recorded this and then animated this. More than laughter, more than chuckles, I was cringing a lot of the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of cringeworthy stuff.
There's also a shoehorned in love story.
One might say like, I don't watch a lot of kids animation. I mean, maybe a lot of it is very streamlined and very lame. But I find when you encounter adult animation or animation streamlined towards adult, the ratio is not much different in quality. Remember that Sausage Party movie?
Oh God, yeah.
That shit just sucked.
Yeah, it was
right?
bad.
That just sucked. I mean, I get what you're trying to do, but it's just exhausting more than anything. And I won't say this movie is like that. It's hard. I think this movie might barely edge out Sausage Party. But there are funny things in this movie that happen, but it kind of does take you by surprise because when I'm sitting through it and I'm trying to adjust to it, the mistiming feeling of it all, and most of the jokes not hitting, I'm the times where I did laugh, it felt like it was unexpected, like I didn't see it coming.
My finger's in your mouth, kitty, but I don't feel no teeth.
Sometimes things would hit, but I think even in a mediocre movie that is a comedy, I mean, you throw enough at the wall, some things are going to catch,
There was no reason to have a love interest in this movie.
Right.
And again, it's one of those things where you had to animate this shoehorned in love story. Not that you don't have to shoot it either, but it takes more time than realizing maybe we didn't need that character or something. She's this girl that he loved in high school, and then after his life went down the toilet, which we haven't talked about yet, she moved away, had a kid, got married, husband left her, she came back. She hates him because he was mean to her.
But Davy, we find out that the reason Davy hates the holiday time is because his parents died on the way to a youth basketball game, And
which was the
he
first game his
completely
team won.
fell apart.
Yes.
And the whole town knows that.
Yeah, and then he was in and out of foster homes.
I don't think that necessarily would take him off the hook if he's just being a dick now to people, but it never felt like people had a context for his life until it was explained to us what the context of his life is. Granted, the character is going to be hard to deal with for whatever reason. He may not be a character that you would like actively if he's not going to be actively nice to you. But it seems like more than just Whitey would be like, he just really went through some shit. And she knew it too.
Yeah, and I get being hurt when you're rejected, but Whitey was in his life then. She was in his life then. Whitey was his coach. And I know he was in and out of foster homes, but he still went to school. He lived in this town. Why did no one else? Maybe they tried to help him and he wouldn't take help. But yeah, it just seemed like I'd be pretty angry at everything too.
Sometimes when people are mad at something or they don't like something, it may stand out in contrast to the time, the place, the fact that everyone seems to feel the opposite way. But there's not always a lack of justification for it.
Yeah.
You want them to feel better. Maybe you want them to have that cheer, but it's okay if people aren't as into it.
At the end, when everything wraps up and Whitey puts the girl's hand in his hand and says, "Now live happily ever after," and they're all smiling at each other. That was insane.
That end bit, the Whitey character, you already had a sympathy for it.
Yes.
I felt like the climactic conclusion to making that all right and things coming together felt really, really thin to me. Mm-hmm. When I kind of expected it, just because I did care about the Whitey and Eleanor characters, that I expected it to have a little bit more punch. I expected it to kind of come through in the clutch, but it really came off very soft. As much as I wanted to see those characters and Davy come back together in their regret and caring about each other. Mm-hmm. This is a musical too, and every song sucks except for the technical foul song.
If you touch the thermostat,
You'll get hit with a bat.
'cause that's a technical foul.
You will feel my wrath.
If your hair clogs the drain,
You'll know the meaning of pain.
'cause that's a technical foul.
I'll show you no mercy.
Oh, this is such bullshit.
Hey!
In this house we say bullshit, or it's a technical foul. A technical foul.
Let me get this straight.
That was good.
I actually really like the technical
That was
foul
good.
song a lot.
That was the best one. One thing I did like that came full circle at the end that was a recurring theme through the movie was his love of the mall. It was so sweet how he just...
Yeah, Whitey talks to the mall.
Yeah, and they go in at the end. He goes with Eleanor, and when he's so sad. So he wanted to get this 35-year patch, and John Lovitz got it instead because he bought them a new scoreboard. Some character he was playing. But Eleanor's trying to make him feel better, and she's like, "What can we do right now?" And he said, "Well, I only want to go to one place." And they go, and they're like hoping that the doors will be unlocked at the mall so he can go in. And they walk in, and she looks around, and she says, "It's so beautiful. It's like a sanctuary." Like, it was just, that to me was so sweet. Just the two of them. And then, yeah, he sits down and he's talking about how, hey, listen.
Hey, Mo, long time no see. 14 hours to be exact. If you haven't heard by now, I didn't get that patch I've been telling you about for all these years. In fact, I've been kind of kidding myself to even think I was in the running.
I'm not going to get this patch. That was my favorite part of the movie.
Did all those stores sponsor this movie?
They must have.
Every store in the mall, like, their logo is in this movie.
And at one point
there's a
came
song
to life.
Yeah,
to sing and try to raise up
Davy.
And then later at the end, when Dude is so sad, they're all crying. Like, the Radio Shack man is crying.
The reindeer are drawn to Whitey, and they help him.
That got a little weird.
They help him. They lick the doo-doo off of Whitey.
Yeah, and then for the rest of the movie, they smile and always have shit in their teeth.
Yeah,
there's a little too much shit in this Hanukkah movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitting. There definitely is a lot of shitting.
Although
here.
you think about the time, because earlier, we were talking about like art films and.
In 2002, we were all just shitting for fun.
Well, I was gonna say we were watching Jackass and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and so
yeah.
that was there was a lot of shit at the time.
We would have been
were watching.
Yeah, but Jackass, we laughed. That's got every like 30-second laugh ratio.
No, for sure. This was trying though. They even did the porta potty thing.
Well, it's. I don't know if they're really ripping Jackass.
No, I'm not saying they're
This
ripping.
is an Adam Sandler movie.
I know. I'm just saying there was just an extra lot of shit.
The worst has happened. I'm covered in human feces.
Ew.
It's a very shit-inspired era. I think that'll do it. 8 Crazy Nights from 2002, directed by Seth Kearsley. We're going to give it 1 through 5 each combined for best out of 10. I start at the middle and then have to analyze whether I go up or down. I think Whitey and Eleanor are really fun. If I ever rewatch this movie, I would just concentrate on them because they're the best characters. It's that charitable time of the year. So I'm going to add a 0.25 and make it a 2.75.
Yeah, me too.
So that is a 5.5. Oh, well, I forgot how funny it is when Rob Schneider pretends he's Chinese. So maybe I'll add a point. A full point. No, I'm kidding.
No, you better not. That was the biggest eye roll that I had in this movie.
Rob Schneider today, what's he doing? He's doing stand-up bits to smattering laughter at conservative conventions. I think that's what he does now.
Ooh.
Making copies. All right, at a 5.5, it's not the first time we've hit that number because 8 Crazy Nights by Seth Kearsley from 2002, the Adam Sandler animated film, shares the ranking with The Year Without Santa Claus, the Rankin Bass, as well as movies like Under the Shadow, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, and Manderley, the Lars von Trier movie. It's at least as middling as those movies, if not middlinger. Folks, we got a couple more drops before we go into the new year with the new Projectors title and some changes and maybe more to come. But this is actually the last one we've recorded for 2024. And, we won't get too goodbye because we still have a couple more. But yeah, this is, as far as like movie humpers for us, this is the last bit. So remember, if you want to download even Movie Humpers episodes or old Documenteers episodes, you can download them all on SoundCloud. Once they're taken off, the old Documenteers episodes, I don't know, you may have to dig deep on the internet. They're probably somewhere, but you'd have to dig pretty deep to find them until I charge you $8,000 per episode.
It would be cool. Maybe one day we could do special releases of the ones that are ranked on our list or something.
Well, I do have a plot, and it's for probably closer to this time next year. We will revisit the Documenteers theme and do a documentary month.
I was hoping for that.
Like we started, back to our roots a little bit. But that's a long way away. But we got a lot of good stuff coming around the corner. I had a preview drop on Pod, and I believe there is a preview of a trailer for January's theme that will drop this weekend after this episode, the day this episode drops. But that said, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Like, subscribe, check your show notes, and don't touch that dial.
We love you.
There are certain rules which apply in one's life with your sister, friends, or imaginary wife.
I can't believe I haven't killed myself here with Wiggs McGee and the furry elf.
They took my wig